Hello, friends, and welcome back to the National Public Library's Entrepreneurship and Career Series. And today we have with us Miss Gabriella Thomas from Vanilla Orchid, and she is going to be talking to us about being a pastry chef today. Hello, Miss Thomas.
Hi, good day. Thank you for having me.
Welcome aboard. So, Miss Thomas, you know we love us some pastries. So you are like one of my favorite people. What inspired you to become a pastry chef?
I think my family has had a huge influence. My mom bakes and has baked for as long as I can remember. So I think that was very impactful on me in choosing what I wanted to do as a career. Also, I've always loved art, and I always felt like baking and pastry is a great combination of if you like baking and if you like art as well, because I still get to paint on cakes and things like that. It just involves a lot of artistic ability, and so yeah, I'm really just doing what I love to do in life as a career.
Okay. So outside of the whole cake and business, you would have studied art in school?
Sorry?
Art. Would you have done art as a course and during secondary school?
Oh, yes. Well, it would have been a requirement up until maybe like second form. I didn't choose it for CXC or anything, because I wanted to focus on the food part. So I chose the food and nutrition route instead.
Okay. So where did you study?
I studied at Johnson and Wales in Rhode Island. Johnson and Wales is a great school for culinary and baking courses. So you can get your associates or bachelors for baking and pastry. And they have great culinary programs, especially if you want to get into dietetics or just like specific culinary courses designed for vegans and things like that, people with restrictive diets. It's a very, very good school for that.
Cool. Well, I think most of us, well, let's not generalize. I would have heard of Johnson and Wales. I know that it's a pretty up there school. I don't know exactly what percentile, but I know it's one of the great schools. So how did you find the transition to culinary school? What was it like? How long did it take, your course?
It's a 4-year program that I was doing, but I did it in 3 years because you can take on a bit more each term. If you're able to manage, you can take on a bit more to reduce the amount of time that you're there. I think the biggest challenge in transitioning was probably the culture of the US versus Antigua. But other than that, I mean, being in baking classes was comfortable. You're in class with people who have the same passion as you. And so that's really motivating. I also had a lot of friends who were actually from the Caribbean, all over the Caribbean, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica. And so we kind of leaned on each other a bit for some more normalcy in a way. But overall, it was a great experience. It's a place that I miss a lot every single day. Rhode Island taught me a lot. I worked in Rhode Island after graduating from school. And so I really built a community there that I absolutely love. Rhode Island is like I feel like it's kind of like the Caribbean. It's kind of like a melting pot. There are a lot of different kind of people there, probably because there's so many universities in Rhode Island, other than Johnson and Wales. And so you come across all sorts of people. And so that, I think for me, that was comfortable. That was comforting.
So post graduation, you would have stayed in Rhode Island for a bit and done work around. Where would have been your favorite place to work post graduation?
It was a place called Ellie's Bakery. I worked with them. They were actually my first internship while I was in school for my first year, for my associate's degree, sorry. And then I contacted them after graduating and I said, if you need help, call me. And I ended up working for them for about a year or so. I think it was more than a year after graduating. And I actually, I worked at Ellie's while working at a hotel in Rhode Island. So I would work an overnight shift at Ellie's and then I would go down to a different city to work at a hotel. And so it was a very rigorous year and a half after graduating, but I mean, I really wouldn't change it for anything. I probably didn't sleep that much, but it's okay. Like, I really learned a lot, a lot, a lot.
I can imagine, because just being at home and having to prep for what you're cooking for dinner takes so much energy. I can't imagine going to work, doing all the prep because you got to get in there ahead of time, working the shift, then running someplace else, doing the prep, and then working the other shift. You must have been exhausted.
Yeah. There were times I was pretty exhausted. There were times I've worked, like, not kidding you, there were times I've worked 24 hours straight. Or
Wow.
almost like pushing 24 hours. Yeah. And
Wow.
it's like winter there, and you go home and you're walking outside and it's freezing, your ears just want to drop off, and
Ooh.
it was an experience, but like, it was a very integral part of my process, honestly, and in my career.
So at what point did you decide that, in as much as I'm enjoying this and learning from all of these other persons around me, that I want to come home and start my own business?
I was trying to actually get a visa. I even forget the type of visa I was trying to get. But post graduating, you can get a specific kind of visa, practical training. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's with most degrees. Honestly, you're able to get a 1-year visa just to get work experience in the U.S. After that, you can apply for a different kind of visa, but it's done through your employer. I wasn't able to do that. I had to come back home, or else I would have been illegal. So I came back home, and I mean, it wasn't like my first choice. My first choice wasn't to come back home, just because I felt like I was going to be so limited here. But nevertheless, I came back home and I started working for a hotel. And I started my business in the midst of that. I registered my business and I was doing cakes on the side. And then in 2019, I participated in the Just Dessert showcase at the Villas at Sunset Lane. And that's when I really like registered my business and that was kind of like my getting my name
Your
out there.
coming out moment. Yeah.
Exactly. So after that, last year in June, I decided to leave the hotel and just go into my business full time. And it's the greatest thing ever since, honestly. I love the people that I've been able to reach. It's just been a great experience. I'm learning even more now, just trying to figure things out on my own. There's so much involved in being an entrepreneur. There's so much to figure out. And so this in itself has been a great experience. I continue to learn something every day.
So what's the story behind the name Vanilla Orchid? I'm sure most people don't know that vanilla beans actually come from an orchid plant. But
No,
what made you
no.
what made you decide that Vanilla Orchid was it?
I actually had a whole different name in the beginning. Like, I had a whole concept. I wanted like a chalkboard look, like a very rustic brand look. And I had a whole different name in the beginning, and I wasn't able to get that name. And so I went back to the drawing board. And for me, trying to figure out the name of a business, I was kind of like, well, what do I want to express through my business? And I don't really know exactly how I came to like, okay, vanilla is in almost every baked good, and it also comes from an orchid. But I figured that people don't know that, and so it's a great conversation starter. They're like, oh my gosh, what's the vanilla orchid? Like, why that? And I think it also, instead of, it's not a limiting name. So it's a name that allows me to express all of the things that I can make, which is a very broad variety of things. So yeah, it's just a really great conversation starter. And people have called me. I had a lady call me asking if I sell orchids. But no,
No, but you can have them on your cake.
I
What's your favorite thing to make as a chef?
I don't really have a favorite thing, and that's why I think I just like to make a variety of things. I cannot sit down all day for a week, every day for a week, and just make cake. I can't do it. And so I have to have that ability to do a lot of things in one day, rather than just like a repeat of the same thing over and over again. Because for me, I feel like won't be the same for other people, but for me, I find in doing the same thing over and over again, it limits me in a way. Like it limits how I think about something. So I feel like I get stuck in a rut. But yeah, so I really don't have a favorite thing. I just love making all things.
Cool, cool. So what does the average day look like at Vanilla Orchid Bakery and Pastry Chefing?
Well, I wake up really early. I try to be down here at like 5 in the morning. But that varies.
Bless you.
Like in Christmas, it was like 3 or 4 a.m. I was down here.
Wow.
Which is not normal. It's not something new for me because, as I said, I was working overnight shifts at the bakery, so we would have started working at 11 p.m. and finish at 7 a.m. or 12 midnight to 8 a.m. So it's not like unusual. So I try to start really early. I start making everyone's orders the first thing, and then I'll do deliveries. I'll come back and I start prepping for the next day. And in between that, maybe I might have some more deliveries if somebody wanted a later time. But yeah, and then in the evening, I do paperwork. I try to answer everyone's messages, get through all the inquiries in WhatsApp, and also post any specials. Try to keep my Instagram page alive with posts, making sure people won't actually follow me for no reason. And then, like planning menus, upcoming menus for Mother's Day. I need to get on that. Costing. I'm working on some menus for my website right now. Yeah. So every day.
What would you say is the hardest thing about, being your own boss and being an entrepreneur?
It's the hardest thing is feeling like you have to do everything. So, you're the dishwasher, you're the baker, you're the delivery person, you're your own marketing person, you're doing your branding, you're doing your paperwork, you're answering messages, you're posting on Instagram, you're replying to everyone, you're making your menus, you're going out shopping for all the things that you need, you're cleaning up, you're washing the dishes, you're scrubbing the floor, and it's every day, it's every single day. You're doing all of these things. I'm blessed with my mom who can help me here and there when she has time. My dad can help me as well. Friends help me in various parts of my business. So there are definitely people I can reach out to. And I don't advocate for anyone who's an entrepreneur who's trying to do it themselves. Like, is not realistic, honestly. Sometimes you really just have to, little things you have to just let go of. And that's something I'm learning right now as well. It's not so easy for me to just let go of things because I want to be in control and I want to make sure that this thing is going in the right direction.
Exactly how you want it to go.
If it's going to go wrong, I want to blame myself for that because I hate to blame somebody else for something going wrong. But I'm learning how to just let go of some things, some things will be okay in somebody else's hands. So,
what do we have in the oven? I hear a timer going off.
There's a cheesecake in the oven right now, but it's not done. I can promise you that it's not done. It's gonna be jiggly. I know it already. As I checked,
and that's all par for the course of baking. Just knowing your oven and knowing that although it's there to remind you to check it, it's not gonna be quite done.
That. It always takes time, I think, for some reason.
Have you developed that I can tell when it's done by smell?
Certain things I like. There's a certain type of buttercream that I prefer to make, and you have to cook sugar, and I can hear when the sugar is ready because it boils different, which is really weird. But it's because I've made it so many times that I know I don't have to go running back to it to check because once it's overcooked, it's no longer good to use.
Yeah.
To get it at the right moment.
I actually don't think that's weird. I have a friend who is a chef in the kitchen, and he says he can tell you when the bread is ready just by the smell.
Yeah.
So even he's like, before the timer goes off, he's like, go check the bread. And it's like, the timer, the timer goes off, and he's
Yeah,
like, yeah, I can.
I'm not so good about all things. Maybe just like toasting nuts or something, then you can smell it, but I'm not so
But
good.
I suppose it's something that comes with years of just being in the environment.
Yeah.
You know when it's hit that critical point and you need to get there or else.
Right.
But I imagine that, it's difficult balancing being your own boss, doing everything for yourself, and still having a personal life and everything. So how do you find balance? How do you make time for Gabby, and what do you do for fun?
I currently don't. I'll be honest. I currently don't generally make much time. I love going to the beach, and so that's my go-to if I have enough time. Um, I love hanging out with my friends. So once I have enough time, sometimes one of my good friends, she just comes here because she likes to see me work. That way I get to hang out with her. With COVID though, we've been a bit more cautious in
Distant,
a way.
yeah.
So I guess we're not always so quick to be like, oh, let me come over, let's do this, whatever. And with the curfew as well, when it was at 6 p.m., that was a bit difficult because I work all day, most days. I can go straight up until like 9 p.m. some days. So I am trying to come to a place where, I have some time set aside each week. But for right now, I'll just be honest that I don't, that I do not have time.
Speaking of COVID, how has COVID affected your business? Because, I mean, for the most part, you do delivery. Did you do event catering where you actually went and stayed previously, or is it just deliveries that you would have been doing at the time?
Well, my business really bloomed in COVID. Like I said, I started full time last June, at the end of June. So I've always only done delivery. Before that, though, I would have a couple of events here and there. Not that I would have to stay at, because usually people outsource. The main person who's already doing food, but I'm just like dropping off, the sweet stuff. But because my business has just bloomed in COVID, I really haven't had any challenge. I mean, I work from home. We have our own space at home that I'm currently standing in right now. So that allows a lot of flexibility. We're not paying rent. We can be here when we
It
need
helps
to.
to keep the overhead down a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So I haven't really had any challenge. People come here to pick up sometimes, so I just run up and meet them on the street. And other than that, I do deliveries. Yeah. But someday, hopefully, I have a bakery that people can come into and have some coffee and have pastry, and if I end up doing like a dinner or something like that. So, I mean, I think my opportunities are there for the future, but for right now, I think I'm good where
Okay. So I was also going to ask you, what are your future plans for your business and for yourself? Are you planning to return to culinary school, perhaps branch out a little bit more, or perhaps dig a little deeper into a particular specialty? Do you do specialty orders like gluten free? And because I know gluten free is the big thing right now, but I mean, I've had some gluten free pastries and they are,
I know.
yeah.
Like I said, I hope to have a bakery in the future. I have gotten the suggestion from a lot of people to travel a bit once I've saved up enough to places like France, which has always been my dream, to go to France and maybe work at some place for a few weeks or a couple of months and get that experience as well. For now, I have a lot of techniques down, so I can, I can be okay for a little while. But I think it is important for me to do that traveling and to experience, the way they do their pastries there. As far as school, I did think of maybe doing an MBA or something like that to assist with the the admin side of the things that I have to do. But as I keep learning, as I keep doing my research along the way, I see less and less, that I need to do that. I don't know. I don't know quite yet that I really still need to do that MBA. As far as specialty orders, I do gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan, egg-free, sugar-free, nut-free. I mean, it's free. I do it all. And I really encourage people, like, if they don't see something that is currently on any of my menus that they can have, give me a call and let's talk through it, because more than likely I'm gonna figure out a way to make it for you. I've had people call and they might ask, oh, I really want brownies, but I really don't eat sugar. And I'm also gluten-free and I'm also nut-free. So can you give me that? And I do. I figure it out. And somebody just the other day was actually like, whoa, those brownies had no sugar and they really enjoyed them. So when you call and if it's something that I haven't exactly done before, I say, give me a day, I'll do my research and I'll get back to you. Maybe I'll do some testing before I come to you with the final product. But I feel like either way, I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to get it. Because like I said, I don't want to be stuck in doing the same thing over and over again. I'd rather, if you have something on your mind, if you have a craving, call me and let me know.
What's the most challenging order you've had so far?
Maybe that one was one of them. That gluten-free, sugar-free one for the brownies.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around how you'd pull that off.
When I first started last year, like full time, I wanted to make a muffin that was sugar-free and vegan. And I took like my base muffin and I took out all of the things from it. And then I was like, okay, now you're left with like flour, right? Because you're taking out all the dairy, you're taking out all of the sugar. After that, you're left with flour and baking powder, really. So I did a lot of research about sugar replacements. And, I didn't really want to use things like honey because honey is generally expensive. And then I'm kind of having to price my items higher. And that's not necessarily good for the customer. So I wanted to, make sure I could find something that would keep things at a good price point.
Within a good price range, yeah.
Right. So I came upon dates. And that's what I've been working with. And it took a lot of testing to figure it out. To be honest, I tested those muffins for a long time. I tested them regular and I tested them gluten-free. And I've come to a place where I make vegan, sugar-free muffins. And so I kind of translated that into the brownies that I had to do. But yeah, so, after having an experience like that, you can become less afraid to try all of these other things to meet people's different requirements, And honestly, everything's already out there. All of the research that you need to figure these things out is out there, because there are a lot of people across the world who have the same issues, Somebody who's sugar-free in Antigua is the only person in the world that is sugar-free. Other people have done a lot of testing, and so you can go and find these things that will help you along. Some of them don't work. Them don't taste great, and so you can take those things and improve them, and that's what I really try to do.
Nice. So where can our general public find you? Where are you located?
So like I said,
virtual space.
I work from home. So we're located in St. Clair Heights. But you can find me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, you can search Vanilla Orchid Antigua. And on Instagram, you can look for the Vanilla Orchid. Or you can give me a call or WhatsApp me at 720-7903.
One more time, just a little bit slower.
Oh,
the phone number.
Okay. Call or WhatsApp 720-7903.
Awesome. Thank you. Because I know quite a few people who I have a friend who shall not be named, who has every allergy, I swear, known to man. can't do nuts, can't do dairy, can't do things with tomato, can't. It's a
Wow.
lot of can'ts, and so I know a birthday coming up, and I think that this may be a wonderful opportunity to try and hit all the cans because cake has been a no-no for a while.
Right, that's the thing. And there's so many people out there that I've met that they're like, wow, I haven't had a cake in forever. Like, I haven't had this in so long. Can you make this for me? I haven't had this. I haven't had this. You know, since they've had
Mm,
to come off all of these different things. And so I'm really happy that I can provide them with the things that they've been missing, honestly.
mm.
I also do gluten-free pizza crust and gluten-free bread. And they can also be dairy-free and vegan. So there are just a lot. Anything is possible. I feel like anything is possible. Anything can be figured out. Um,
And you're always open to a challenge,
always, always,
right?
honestly.
So you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. She's up for a challenge. So if you have the money, she'll take you up on that challenge. I want to say thank you so much for talking to us, Gabby. I know that there are probably a lot of things that you have to get done today, and we are so honored that you had the time to come and talk to us today.
I'm so happy to have been able to speak to you. I think it's important, honestly, that we make time for things like this, especially not just for marketing purposes, but so that people know that these options are out there, and also so that entrepreneurs don't feel intimidated once they have a good idea. Anybody should just give it a try.
True, because you never know where you'll end up. I mean, it might just be just an idea that you have, but there are so many niches and so many ways to make things work for you that is different from everybody else that you just have to go for it.
Yeah.
Again, I want to say thank you so very much for talking to us today. We look forward to tasting treats from you at later events. Hopefully, when we are all back opened up, we can do some tastings at the library. So thanks again very much, Miss Gabby. And next week we're going to be having with us Mr. Maclean Lawrence, and he is a lifeguard, and he'll be talking about getting us safe at the beach and what we should look out for. So thanks everybody for joining us, and see you next time. Bye bye.